Say that he did not want to quit. Listen. Are you angry at Nancy Pelosi?
No, I haven't spoken to Nancy at all. I mean, look, no one influenced my decision. No one knew it was coming. What I decided to do was, I didn't want to the extent that the party thought they'd lose Senate seats or House seats, that would have been the topic you would have had to cover the entire remainder of the campaign. And it wasn't worth it.
Teared up a little bit. Was it emotional for you tonight?
Well, it was. I mean, the reception was pretty overwhelming.
Do you feel like this was your choice, or do you think you still could have won?
Well, you know, I always think you could have won. And if you go back and look at the numbers, we weren't that far behind. It was like we talked about how we were getting blown out. That's not what we saw. But it would have been close.
He said that they were saying that he was going to get blown out, but that's not what he saw. And he thought that it would have been close. Y'all hear what he's saying? He's telling you without telling you that I didn't want to drop out, which we already know.
But what would have happened, though, if the discussion had been, was I going to cost seats for Democrats, that would have been the whole subject matter for the remainder of the campaign. You'd have to cover it. That would be the issue, and it would give him an advantage. Anyway.
And now he's done. And now he's done taking questions. The same Kamala Harris tactic that they're running. No more questions after those first few, right? I think Otis is right? 3 weeks later, he finally found out. Hey, Joe, you're not on the ticket anymore. You had to drop out. Come get your pudding. Come get your pudding, Joe. We got to make sure that you're asleep by 8 because you can't work. Come get your pudding, Joe. Oh, Poppy Joe, you crack me up, right? Everyone knew it was coming. Joe. But Joe, did you? Everyone knew it was coming but Joe, yeah. Like there was an entire plan. And I even think now, in the grand scheme of things, that the debate was a setup for the entire time. You know what I'm saying? But I think the Democrats have made a few missteps, right? And I said this before on a different episode, so bear with me. But I think that the Democrats should have chosen Josh Shapiro to make it a more competitive race. But because they're because they're so into identity politics, they decided not to go with him, and then that's going to screw them. They went with a horrible candidate, right? So, you know, I don't think that Joe Biden wanted to drop out, and it's clear. It's clear. I mean, we heard it with our own ears, and that's what the media tries to do. The media wants us to actually forget what we've seen because it's easier that way, right? So if we forget what we saw, then they can program us. What we seen with George Slopadopoulos, that when he sat down, he said that I am not going to leave this race unless I am sick or God takes me out of here. And a week later, he got the vid. How coincidence? What a coincidence. And then he drops out. Everyone already knew that as soon as he got the vid, he was dropping out. See, the Democrats are really playing on people's ignorance. Like, I'm really starting to see that this party really just preys on people's ignorance. And that's how they want people to vote for them. Because when I didn't care about politics, and I'll be vulnerable here because I've fixed myself. When I didn't care about politics, I was told to vote Democrat. Democrats are for the poor, and Republicans are for the rich, and X, Y, and Z. So I started voting Democrat without just being programmed, just voting, not caring about politics. I was ignorant. I was an ignorant voter. I was not informed. I didn't know what I was voting for. I was thinking I was just voting for presidents, but I didn't know about the Senate and the House and the people in my local elections that were running. And once I started to get more informed, I started saying, wait a minute. Democrats prey on your ignorance. Hence why I'm going to play you guys a video of people that don't even know why they want to vote for Kamala Harris. Being asked this out on the street, well, why do you like Kamala Harris? And they don't even know. You know why? Because they're ignorant. All right. So that's that section right there. So I'm going to get off that. 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 Biden. Hiding Biden. Hiding Biden. Going with Shapiro would not have gone over well with the pro-Palestinian leftists, in my opinion. Yes, I know. That's the problem, though. You know what I'm saying? Because they're playing these identities and these little special groups, they put themselves in a corner. Yeah, that would have would have said like, hey, we rocking with the Jews and we're rocking with everything that we're already doing to the Muslims. It would have looked really bad. But, you know, they happen to twist stories a lot, you know, in the media that we do know. And they would have twisted that story up probably too. But that's who the Democrats were more excited about. I'll put it that way. They were way more excited about Josh Shapiro, the fact that he was from Pennsylvania. That could be a state that they could win. It's a battleground state, you know, from those reasons, right? Just being unbiasedly speaking, that's what would have made sense. But like you said, then you would have definitely pissed off all the Muslims that she's already pissed off. Like when y'all remember when she came down to Michigan, right? My state here in Michigan. I heard shortly after she had to go meet with, or she had a meeting or something with the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, where all the Muslims are. Like that's literally Muslim capital over there. She had a meeting with them and he was basically saying we want a ceasefire and things like that. She pissed them off so bad by basically telling those protesters, stop talking and shut up unless you want Donald Trump to win. She had to go and fix herself. So that's the problem with playing to these certain groups. Republicans ain't playing to certain groups. They're just saying, listen, bro, here are the policies. Here's the program. Y'all own it or not. Everybody can play. All right, y'all. He said, you know what? This is a good message. I'll subscribe. Appreciate you, man. Absolutely. And also, too, whether you're watching this on a replay or you're watching this right now, a donation is always helpful, whether you want to drop a super chat, which is right at the bottom. If you see the $sign button, hit the $sign, regular comment, drop some money, or you can throw a Cash App in there, man. Donations are always appreciated. So listen. I want to get to this part right here, right? Yeah. This is the good part of my show. This is the better part of my show. Now, for those who have been following Kamala Harris's economic plan, you know that she has something on there called price gauging or price gouging. It's really called price gauging for groceries and food prices. Well, why don't we hear directly from people who own grocery stores how they feel about Kamala Harris's new proposal so that maybe we can get educated on what profits that they have because they don't have major profit margins. This is not a profit margin heavy business. Even people that own restaurants, even my dad, my mother and father owned a restaurant back when I was like super little, like even before I was born, I think maybe up until I was maybe a couple years old, they owned a restaurant and they used to tell us that you didn't make a whole lot of money with a restaurant. You know, a couple things go wrong and you're out of profit. And also, I have another person through marriage who my wife's uncle is married to some Italian people, right? Some beautiful Italian people that cook some great food. And he even talks about the restaurant business, right? And it's a tough business, right? It's not really like, a profit heavy business. It takes a lot to run a restaurant, right? So that falls into food. Let's talk about what these owners are saying.